What if you woke up tomorrow morning and felt like you were absolutely living into your legacy? You felt so purpose driven, like you were doing meaningful work and being paid in commensuration with all that you're putting out in the world. What would that be like for you? So if you're a successful woman and you're searching for that and not quite feeling it yet, but that's where you'd like to go. Hi, my name is Jen. I'm the founder and owner of Laughing Lotus Wellness. I'm a purpose coach and expert. And what I do is help women just like you who really want to feel connected and like that fire in the belly lit up about the work that they're putting out in the world again. And women that have lost the sense of that are feeling defeated and exhausted and no longer want to be on that career path or owning that business and running it anymore, only to feel like they're completely imbalanced. They don't have any sense of the lines between like home life and work life, and it feels like maybe you're on a hamster wheel doing these things and not really feeling connected to them. So that's you. Here's what we do when we work together. I support you in clarifying how you got to where you are, right? And then we really dive deep into how can we get you where you want to go? How can we get it to the place where you know with absolute certainty that you are living in alignment, that you are leaving the legacy you want to be leaving behind? That's what we're going to do together. And that may mean that you stay where you are and we find a way to do that, or it might mean we transition you and find balance and connection, reconnecting that purpose and success elsewhere. And so we decide that together. So after practicing for so many years in a psychotherapy practice, right, 20 plus years, I own my own practice, and then I opened my business doing Laughing Lotus Wellness as a purpose coach and expert. And what I know is that we need to do a couple of things when it comes to balance. And one of them is really realizing the things that kick us out of balance. So it's identifying, right? So much identifying has gone on in this journey of balance, but I want you to really identify the things that kick you out of balance. It could be a toxic work environment. It could be a bad relationship. It could be your own self-esteem and insecurity, your doubts. It could be where you live. It could be the type of place that you're living. Right? So there are so many things that kick us out of alignment and disrupt balance. And one of the first things you want to do is get really clear about like, what is that, right? And this is big, is there a trait you bring to the table that's messing with you? So the way that I define balance is bringing alignment-laden awareness to nourishing and calming enlightenment, meaning we find enlightenment in this really beautiful space where we're nourished and calm. And so if we know that that's kind of the idea, then what we want to take a look at is, are there things we're showing up to the table with that are not serving us? And I know this is not a super fun thing to think about, but truth be told, we have a desperate need to understand that there are things that we're carrying around that might be getting in our way, that they're tripping us up. And they're like the opposite of supporting us being in alignment in that balance, right? And so I'm going to encourage you to define a habit or trait that's really kicking your ass. It's really kicking your ass. And you know it. And you're well aware. You're like, yeah, this is a thing. I may be impatient. Or I recently had someone say to me very clearly, I'm super passive aggressive when I'm having a minute. And I love that. I love the authenticity and the transparency, right? So you're going to try this transparency on for yourself. Like, what are you doing or bringing that's maybe not really serving, right? It's not really serving you. So first of all, define it. And the second thing is, I want you to imagine that there's a reason for all the things that we do. I don't even want you to imagine it. There's a reason for everything that we do. As a clinician, I can tell you, we don't do anything on accident. So whatever habit or trait that you're bringing to the table, at one point, and I want you to really think long and hard about this, at one point that quality or trait super served you. It super served you, right? Back in the day, I worked really hard to control the things, the way that things unravel, not like necessarily people, but like situations. And I had a way that I thought it should look and feel and be. And I worked really hard to get everything into this space, right? I worked really hard to people please. Oh my God, like exhaustingly people pleasing, right? Even if it didn't feel at all in line with myself. Particularly, unfortunately, in relationships with men, I was also really like, if I was like in like neck and neck with a male figure, I had a hard time with that. And I would sort of like, well, okay, like get quiet and not speak my truth. And I could sit and list for you, right? And I just want to give you some examples of places where I've seen myself fall into these traps, because we've all got them. And we have to understand, we have compassion, that at one point, whatever it is, served us, it protected us. And you might even imagine a small child in you, that there's an inner child, which I know is so cliche and so therapeutic, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But I really want you to imagine that. Give it grace. That there might be a childlike part of you who was doing something because at one point it really served. And I'll say that to clients, as a coaching client. It's like, at one point, whatever you're doing now, it was working. And now that same thing that once worked when we were like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17, 25, and now we're in our 40s and 50s, maybe, shit doesn't work the same. We're going, that doesn't work. And it creates imbalance, right? Creates imbalance internally, externally, whatever it is, there is imbalance. And so I want you to think about that. And what I really want you to do is, when you identify, right? So what's the one habit or change that we want to make that we're like, oh, there's a thing in there, there's a trait in there that I've got that doesn't really serve me. And then what's the reason? Why did I develop that? I developed it for this reason, right? It plays out this way. And then I have compassion. I go, okay, I've got compassion. Because that part of myself when I was X age and I was going through this thing, that served me. So to make space for that. How did that thing help you at the time it was going on? And then you redesign. Then you find balance by going, okay, I got you. I see you there. 15-year-old. that worked back in the day. That worked for you, pushing everybody away or whatever it was, right? And now I go, that doesn't work at all. So now I've got to reconfigure, right? And so finding balance is about understanding that in our lives, we're going to go through these moments. We're going to develop patterns and habits and traits that don't serve us down the road 20 years. It's normal. And I go, oh, okay, oh shit, okay, so I see that worked for me when I was, 20, right? And I was out and I was, young and I was trying to figure out my life and I was just starting my education or my job or my kids or whatever the heck your story was, right? And that worked then and it doesn't work now. And so I have to reconfigure. I have to realign. I have to nourish. And that's in the acronym for balance. Bringing alignment-laden awareness to nourishing. You have to nourish that part of yourself because that's like an injury. It's an old injury. It's an old story. So instead of being like, why do you do that? Rah, rah, rah. Why do you do the same thing over and over again? It's not serving you. Try in some compassion. Try in spending some time in understanding where that stems from. And then think, how could this be better? How could this be better for me? How could this be more balanced? How is this trait showing up in my life? And how could I do something ever so slightly different that's going to serve me better? That's where change is going to happen. So I invite you into that, right? So we're going to identify a habit or trait that's not supporting our balance. We're going to go in, we're going to nab onto, oh, I wonder where that developed. Then I'm going to have compassion. I'm going to look at that kid or that person or that young adult or that part of myself during that story that needed that thing, right? And then I'm going to think, how can I do this differently? How would this be more effective? How can I show up more balanced? Okay? So those are your skills. Those are the things we want to kind of like, how am I going to find balance? Making friends with the hard parts of ourselves, right? We want to balance making hard parts of ourselves incorporated in because they're just aspects of us. They're just old stories. They're just moments in time that we kind of got stuck doing a thing that just might not serve us anymore. And learning that, unraveling that, right? A couple times ago in my blog, I talked about unraveling. We did a visualization around it. We've got to unpack these things. And sometimes it means freaking unlearning. Oh, it's uncomfortable. Unlearning stuff that we thought we knew. Sometimes in life, the most powerful thing we do is unlearn the shit we thought we knew to relearn the new things, right? Does that make sense? So that's what I'm going to invite you to do this week, okay? So making friends with the hard parts of yourself. Pick one thing, dive deep, try to understand, have some compassion. How can this be different? How would this be more effective? All right, friends, listen in. So I invite you over to my website to check out all of my tips, tricks, and tools for purpose. And they're all listed right in there on my website. So it's at laughinglotuswellness.com, and you'll see purpose tools. And right in there, you can click on there. All of this information will pop up, scan through, nab any of the tools and tricks that you think would be useful to you, and check all of that content out. It's just free content sitting there. It's free coaching for you. And I hope you enjoy it. So until next time, my friends, this is Jen with Laughing Lotus Wellness, supporting you on your path to purpose.